Would you like to be like an insufferable main character in a dark academia book who's constantly quoting philosophy, the classics, Shakespeare, and other such pretentious works? Then a commonplace book might be for you. Hello my loves, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about commonplace books. I've mentioned this previously on a different video and no one asked for this, but I'm doing it anyway because I want to. I want to talk specifically about why I think commonplace books are a good thing for readers to have, because when I first discovered them it was very much about writers keeping them. And it doesn't have to be. Anyone can keep one. I specifically want to talk about why I think they're good for readers, especially if you're the kind of reader that annotates and highlights your books. So what is a commonplace book? In case you haven't heard of them before, I honestly hadn't heard of them or really properly knew what they were until like a few months ago, I think. A commonplace book is essentially quite often used for writers, for them to collect pieces of inspiration, other people's works, quotes, things like that they would like to come back to or draw inspiration from. So quite often it might be things like poetry, quotes from books, song lyrics. It could even though be things like from a course you're doing to learn different things. It's basically a notebook that is not supposed to be neat or cohesive or focused on one particular thing. It's just a collection of things that you like, written things that you like. There is a motorbike driving past very loudly. I saw one website describe it as almost like a database. It's where you can have a catalogue almost of your favorite parts of books or songs or whatever it is that you can just come back to in one convenient place, whether that is because you're a writer and you want inspiration, or whether it's because you just like these things and you would like to come back and look at them, or whether it is because you would like to have these things available to quote at any opportunity so you can be an insufferable main character in a book. All of these motivations apply. In short, it is a collection of things that you yourself have not written but you like and want to keep hold of. And for me, who is nothing in their soul if not obsessive, I like to have a place to collect all of my stuff. I like having just little caches of knowledge or useless information, and a commonplace book serves that purpose perfectly for me. So why readers? Why should readers keep a commonplace book? You don't have to, honestly. If you casual reader not really interested in coming back to books, annotating, highlighting, all of that, then this might not be for you. But if you are the kind of person that already highlights, annotates, jots down bits of a book that they like, then you're probably the kind of reader that will quite enjoy this. If there are books that you just really love certain parts of that just really speak to you, whether that's because it's beautiful writing, it's poetic, or there's certain emotions that it brings up for you that you know you want to come back to those bits and almost remember them more than other parts of the book, then that is exactly what a commonplace book is for. If you, like me, enjoy collecting just useless bits of information about your current obsessions or fixations or long-term interests, whatever it is, you will like this. Predominantly for readers, I think it's just a place to have all of your favorite parts of books, poems, whatever it is you're reading together. So rather than going back to have to refer to a book to find a certain part for whatever reason, you can just come here and you know it's in there. It's annotating, but next level. For those of you who annotate, that feeling of like going through and really enjoying and like emotionally connecting with a book through making little notes in the margin or highlighting and underlining certain bits that really speak to you. This is like that same feeling. It's that next level feeling of that though. To give you an idea of what I mean, this is mine. It is a basic, boring notebook. It literally is really boring. It is just just pages of quotes from things that I like. I personally have gone through and done this in like sections. So this is the start of the secret history section. For someone who says that they don't like the secret history very much, I sure do fucking talk about it a lot. And then I have Letters to a Young Poet. Starting after that, Dracula. Dracula has the most. I forgot how quotable and beautiful Dracula is before I sat down to do this. And then I've started Dorian Gray, but I haven't actually finished it yet. It's not particularly like pretty or exciting to look at. It is literally just quotes that I like. It is just me writing these things down. I think that is the beauty of commonplace books, is that they don't need to be pretty. They don't need to look a certain way or be organized a certain way. They are by their nature quite chaotic. They are just you scrambling to write down these bits of information that you've found, and it doesn't need to be in a specific order. I have obviously ordered those by the book themselves, but I know there's collections of just random things that I've read or seen that I don't have enough of from the work that it originates from to have a whole section for it. So there are just going to be times when it's just random things written down, and that's fine. Because I think when it comes to recording things on paper, we can get very fixated on it needing to be perfect or it needing to be done in a certain way. And commonplace books kind of take that away a little bit. It doesn't need to be. It's just a scrapbook of written words that you love and enjoy. So where to start with one? Don't try and make it perfect. Just get a notebook. Find a book that you really like, or something short that you really like. The first thing in mine, actually, that I didn't show you, the first page in mine is not the whole poem, but an excerpt from an Oscar Wilde poem that I really like. And that was quite short, but quite meaningful. So start with something to set the pace and tone of what you want to include. My favorite books is essentially what I would reserve this for, and then maybe a few other random quotes from time to time. I just want to compare this very quickly to another notebook I have to collect thoughts, feelings and quotes about different books. So I have this notebook, which is more for like, this is more like a book journal, I suppose, and I have this one, which is my commonplace book. So commonplace book, very boring, not a lot aesthetically going on here, just writing. Then my book journal is very different. So this is for aesthetics predominantly, is also for a longer form way for me to write thoughts about books and record some quotes. I started this before I started my commonplace book. Oh my god, I wrote so much about this fan fiction. I wrote so much about it. Oh, it was so good. It was so good, so good. This is more like, I'm doing this partly for the aesthetics, you know, I'm doing this because I want a notebook where I can write about my thoughts, but it's done in a pretty way. And this does have sections for quotes, like I said. This is all quotes here. Whereas this is less performative, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. This is, yeah, I'm sitting down and thinking about this book and thinking about the parts that mattered to me or I want to come back to and keep, but it's also, this is something that I want to look nice and to, like, you know, be a bit more showy, whereas this is literally just, this is for me, this doesn't need to look nice, this is just emotional connecting with quotes. It's not something that I'm gonna be posting pictures of everywhere, but it's something for me specifically that only I'm gonna look at and only I'm gonna really care about. Not that I'm posting this everywhere, but you know, this is more, oh, this is the ideal of how I want things to look, and this is just, no, this is just for the feeling and the book itself. And I think, although I haven't done as much of this as I wanted to, I've written in here a whole lot more than I've written in here. I've done 3 book reviews in here and I have not written anything in here since October. What month is it? March. Whereas this, I started like later, but because it's not overwhelming and because it's just literally writing, I have used this a whole lot more. So I think there is definitely a plus to just forgetting the aesthetics of things sometimes and just writing that stuff down. I have not been keeping my commonplace book for a very long time, so this probably will change and evolve, and I may update this in the future, but it's something I've been thinking about a while that I see writers talk about a lot, but I don't really see readers talking about. And I do understand why writers might keep them more, because it is really a place that you can then draw inspiration from, and you can sort of collect works of literature or whatever, works of art, I suppose, artistic expression that somehow resonates with you and you would either like to emulate or be able to capture similar things in your own writing. So I do understand why this is quite often talked about in that way, but I do also think as readers, you know, we connect a lot with books, certain books, and we do come back to them in certain ways, and there are certain things that will always sort of stick with us. And I think a commonplace book is almost just a physical manifestation or representation of that, for you to have those books that you've had a connection with and be able to come back to just your favorite parts of them or the bits that you connected with most. If you don't want to revisit the whole book, I really would recommend. I think they are fantastic. They're not really too much effort either, which is always a plus for me. You shouldn't just sit down and write in it for a little while after like flicking through the book. It is easier if you've annotated the book, because then you can just look at your highlighted parts, because you know those are probably the parts you're going to want to write down. I do really recommend them. I think they're wonderful, and I will be keeping mine for a very long time. Let me know if you already have one, because like I said, I don't really hear readers talking about them. So I'd be interested to know if you already have one, and whether you started it for different reasons or if it was for sort of just to collect that information. If you haven't and you feel like you're starting to want to have one, fantastic, let me know. I would love to know that. I hope wherever you are, you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.